Hey, it's me, Gino, of Gino's Brick and Mortar. You probably know my family's 7th generation, father and son business, who are very sturdy, very difficult to break, brick and mortar construction. Recently, my beautiful daughter Ginatrice graduated from college. And even though she's just as talented as all the guys in her class, she can't seem to find a job. Turns out, there's all these glass ceilings. And boy, does that piss me off. Ain't no ceiling gonna keep my daughter from succeeding. So I am proud to announce that Gino's Brick and Mortar is now Gino's Glass Ceilings. And these ceilings are guaranteed to break on your first try. Look at this. Look at this. Busted. Ladies, this is 100% shattered guaranteed glass made from a proprietary blend of recycled Coke bottles and sugar. Let's say I am my daughter Ginatrice. I want to be assistant manager at my dad's business. Bam! Ceiling busted. Now I am assistant manager. I'm Ginatrice. I want to get a $20,000 loan from my dad so I can go back to school and earn equal to my male counterparts. Bam! Busted. That ceiling is broken. Now I am earning what I am worth. I want to have a baby. Bam! I'm Ginatrice. Ceiling busted. Now I can throw my baby through it. I am a mother and a working professional, and ain't nobody gonna look down on me because I do what I want. My name is Ginatrice. And I'm a mother and a working professional. But ain't no grandchildren gonna hurt nobody. Wink. Gino's Brick and Mortar. Now, Gino's Glass Ceilings. Because I want to see women break stuff and succeed.
Gino, you know, some of those things you described are not options available to every woman in the workforce. They're really specific to your daughter, in fact. This is a nice idea, but the glass ceiling is figurative.
Huh?
It's not really a glass ceiling. It's a name for the figurative barrier that women face when trying to ascend through the workplace.
What is this, college? Literally and figuratively, I never went to college. I didn't have to. I got my dad's business, which was bricklaying, is now glass ceilings.
Yeah.
Ladies, I helped.
You did. Thank you, Gino.
Yeah. All right, let's get this lady show on the road then, yeah? I got a Chicago Fire on the DVR at home, so let's get this thing going.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are now in the box. Please welcome your host, Kaitlin Fontana.
Hi! How's everybody doing tonight? Good? This guy just gave me big thumbs up in the front row. Nothing out of his mouth, but big old thumbs. Welcome to the box. You guys, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pretty momentous few months for women, and it feels like every day some new awesome thing. Today, Barbies. A couple days ago, the only people who showed up at the Senate were women.
Yeah!
But I would like to acknowledge for a minute just the amazing thing that is the 43rd anniversary of the Roe v. Wade verdict. Let's give that a big round. Precariously sort of hanging by a thread in some ways, but still here, still going strong 43 years later. And 43 is a very interesting number if you think about it. Like if Roe v. Wade, the decision was Roe v. Wade, the lady, she'd be like a hot, like sexual prime kind of lady. She'd be like, yeah, you're Heidi Klum. who's also like a 1973 baby. She'd be your Tyra Banks, for example. She'd be, yeah, woo woo. She'd be your Lena Headey, who plays Cersei in Game of Thrones. And so I guess, you know, the moral of the story is, if you're gonna fuck with Cersei, things are gonna go bad for you. So maybe just don't fuck with Roe v. Wade is what I'm saying. Let it be known now, don't fuck with Roe v. Wade. You can clap for that. Yeah, I'll force you to clap. And speaking of women who are, you know, over 40 and looking babylicious, how many of us are watching the X-Files reboot right now? This is how I judge who my friends are in the room, so thank you very much. And this beautiful fan art that I found with the unicorn is, I think really more than anything else, it really expresses the dream, the unicorn being the dream of equal pay for women. You guys probably heard that when they initially talked about doing the X-Files reboot, they offered Gillian Anderson half as much money as David Duchovny, which is, you know, kind of Hollywood typical. But also, let's really think about this. I love the Duchovs, like in my vagina styles, love the Duchovs. But she's at least 4 times the actor of him. Let's be real. Let's be real. Yeah. And you know, our theme tonight is limits, and one of those limits is the wage gap, which got us all sort of talking in the room. If we could see the wage gap chart, you guys might not be able to see this from where you're sitting, but basically this sort of represents, at last count, the gap between different wage groups. If white men make $1, for every dollar that white women make 90 cents, 78 cents. Other groups, Pacific Islander and Native Hawaiian women, that's a mouthful, census, is 65 cents, African American women 64 cents, American Indian or Alaskan Native women 59 cents, Latina or Hispanic women 54 cents on the dollar. So we think about this number of like 77% as being like women make 70% of what men make, but it's actually more fine pointed than that. And furthermore, as one of our writers pointed out to us, a lot of Middle Eastern women, for example, will just say that they're white on the census because of old ideas that have been ground into their head about the betterness of whiteness, which is ridiculous. So some of this is even skewed because these groups are not representing themselves. So I want us to take a minute here in the box. We're very much believers in equality, and we have this jar of money here. So I just wanted to, it might be a little chaotic, but I just wanted to take a minute. If you paid $5 for your ticket tonight, can you just raise your hand? I know some of us are performers, great. So I just want to give all I have the figures written down here, all the white women, you get $1.15 back. You can also come see me after the show, but if anybody wants to just like stick their fist in this money jar. White women, you get $1.15 back. If there are any black women here who paid $5 for the show, you get $1.80 back per your wage. Latina women, you're going to get $2.30 back. Are there any Pacific Islanders here?
Yeah.
Just women? A woman Pacific Islander? That was not a woman's voice. This jar of money is here. We're going to put it on the edge of the table. If at any point during the show you're feeling like you need a little more money to match up with your pay, you can just come on up here and grab some money. Unless you're a man, don't touch it. So today we're talking about limits, and we have a lot of very fun and very funny stuff ahead. So I will stop taking up your time, and I will instead welcome our very special guest from Lady Parts Justice to read the box's position paper on limits. Welcome, Sharron Paul.
Let's talk limits. Not the mathematical kind, though we could talk about those if we wanted to. Because women are good, nay, great at math. We use it to figure out baking, which was, you know, just a way to distract people while we went on to discover bigger things like fucking radioactivity. But tonight, we're talking about something else. We're talking about limits placed on women by society, biology, and unfortunately, ourselves. It's not news that men and women receive unequal treatment, but just to recap, as we just saw, women are often paid less for doing the same job, are more likely to experience domestic violence and sexual assault, and are more likely to be stalked. We're more likely to be underrepresented in governments, be the victim of an honor killing, be denied health care, and be pressured into brunch. If you're a woman of color, you're even more susceptible to everything we just listed, except for brunch. White bitches be brunching. In October, the New York Times reported that more American women hold bachelor's degrees than men, in part because today there are fewer limitations on women who want to go to college. And also because we're ambitious as fuck. Unfortunately, once we get into the workforce, we're bombarded with sexism, harassment, harmful stereotypes, and bias. And while there are some things we can't control, can we at least stop adding to the bullshit? A Gallup poll revealed that 40% of women prefer a male boss, compared to 27% who prefer a female boss, leaving 33% who prefer spending their workday reading recaps of TV episodes they've already watched. Why would women reinforce a false notion that actually limits their own potential to become a leader in the workplace? Maybe they've been trained to view authoritative and exacting women as bitches. You know what? Bosses suck, regardless of gender. They want you to leave your cozy bed to hang out in cubicle farts all day and do spreadsheets. Stop blaming just the women. It's no wonder that when looking at Fortune 500 companies, there are more CEOs with the name John than there are female CEOs, period. Come on, ladies. If you're going to bring children into this world, think of more creative names than John. Then again, if you're having babies, you've got other things to worry about, like how your career is limited by the fact that the US is the only industrialized country without paid maternity leave, complicating the already complicated matter of balancing family and career. On top of that, some politicians tirelessly try to limit women's access to healthcare services and birth control to make sure we keep having babies, whether we want them or not. But once they come out of our glorious vaginas, we get about as much support as Jennifer Love Hewitt's music career. Left her hanging, we did. I'll leave you with this. Did you know that the word computer originally referred to the person who double-checked the figures that the original computers computed? One of the first and the very best was Katherine Johnson, a black woman who worked for NASA. Look it up. She's a fucking badass and she was goddamn good at math. But I'm not gonna stand here and list a bunch of women who were good at math. I just seriously want you all to go home and look her up. People will stop putting limits on us if we stop putting limits on ourselves. Actually, fuck that. People are still going to try to force limits on us. So I say, fuck limits. We're capable, we're smart, we're kind, we're good leaders. We can kick someone's ass if we need to. We're not obsessed with fucking yogurt and getting married. We can do math and we know what we know, which is a lot. We have voices and we demand to be heard. So let's call out these limits for the bullshit that they are and crush them until, in the words of Lindsay Lohan, as written by Tina Fey, the limit does not exist.
I'll take a little more.
Okay.
So, how does this game work?
Oh, so you draw a card, you move around the board, you collect energy tokens and money, etc.
First, we all need to draw an identity card. It kind of determines how the rest of the game's gonna go for each of us. Oh, nice. I am a white male.
I'm white lesbian.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Oh, I'm a white male too, yay!
I am a woman of color.
Ooh. Okay, Nicole and I get to start the game a few steps ahead.
Patriarcho! White privilege bonus, steal a turn from anyone. Sorry, Steve, your turn is mine.
Really? You can just...
Online harassment. Move ahead 2 spaces. Steal 5 energy tokens from any woman. Sorry. You shouldn't have disagreed with me online, slut.
Okay, I'm pretty sure that this is not how this game is played, so I'm just gonna check the rules.
No, you don't get to see the rules. You just have to play.
Well, I don't know if I want to play like this.
Well, too bad. Everyone's got to participate. Otherwise, the game doesn't work.
You don't want to ruin it for the rest of us.
Okay, alright, yeah, let's keep playing.
Patriarcho!
Okay, I guess I'll go. Wage gap. Move 3 spaces, but then back 1, discard 1/3 of your money.
Actually, you're a woman of color, so you're deeper in the wage gap, so you actually lose half your money.
That doesn't seem fair.
Shh! Be quiet, you don't want to lose your job.
Ooh, nepotism. Get a promotion at your dad's company. Move forward 4 spaces. Boom!
Okay, I'm gonna go now. Microaggressions from men. Okay, what does this mean?
Oh, it means that Nicole and I take all your energy while we say subtle yet offensive things about the marginalized group you belong to.
Ooh, like you're pretty for a lesbian.
Ooh, who wears a strap-on in your relationship?
Patriarcho.
Okay, I'm gonna go again here. Healthcare fail. Pap smear lab work is not covered by your insurance. Move back 2 spaces and lose the rest of your money. Okay, well, I'm out of money. Can we please stop playing now?
You can still play without money, you just have less of a voice. You can't talk, but you can whisper.
Unbelievable.
What?
Unsolicited dick pic.
Coming at you.
Oh my god, why?
You gave me your phone number, honey. Oh, you're welcome.
This is bullshit.
No one listens to what you have to say, ever. At all.
Do not shush me. This game is not fair. You guys are getting all the good cards and we're getting crap.
Well, at least we're letting you play. That's how Patriarcho works.
This is stupid. We have no money. We have no energy. We're never gonna win. We're set up to fail.
Oh, you gonna cry? Don't cry in front of the boss. Ooh, yeah.
Hey. You should smile more.
Yeah, makes your face pretty.
So, when do I get to play?
Alright, well, as that sketch illustrated, there are some positive sides to limits, which is boundaries, personal boundaries, physical boundaries. And sometimes women have a hard time expressing that, saying what our boundaries are. Sometimes we say them and we don't get listened to anyway. So I thought instead of me talking about that some more, I would have a good friend of the boxes, Antonio Boundaries, mansplain them to you.
Hola. My name is Antonio Boundaries. I used to be an Antonio Banderas impersonator until I was arrested for stalking him. Usually they travel high school to high school to discuss the importance of personal boundaries. This is what the judge asked me to do for community service. Hey kid, did you know Antonio Banderas in English is Tony Flags? Tonight, let's discuss lady boundaries. We can and should respect a woman's boundaries. That is what separates us from the animals. Do you know Antonio Banderas has a hard time pronouncing the word animals? I know this because I tapped his phone lens. I will be singing to the tune of Livin' La Vida Loca, a song that Antonio Banderas himself covered for the Shrek 2 soundtrack. Hit it. Each lady has boundaries, emotional, physical, and sexual. I have an inclination to respect them all. She's into making sweet love, provoking consent her life. If she tells me to stop, I'll fly off her like a bat in the night. I needed to slide past a woman in a public place. I didn't touch her lower back and say excuse me to her face, 'cause I respect her space. Antonio, let me in, living for Antonio.
don't you see the irony of what's happening here? You're singing to us very respectfully about women's boundaries, but then you yourself don't have respect for Antonio Banderas' boundaries. Oh my God. God. Oh my God. Oh no, it's okay, don't get upset. Is it okay if I touch you to comfort you? Yeah. Okay. Do you want to give it one more try? We can give it one more try.
Yeah, we're gonna try again.
Try one more time. Roll it.
My boundary, living for Antonio. I want to smell his teeth. Living for Antonio. I will wear his skin. Living for Antonio. My patience is wearing thin. Living for Antonio.
I'm not gonna grab you because that would be an invasion, but okay.
Antonio, love me or I'll kill you.
Okay. Alright, well. Antonio Banderas, ladies and gentlemen. I believe he's touring the tri-state area high school, so if you want to see him again, hopefully he doesn't end up in jail. Anyway, at this time I'd love to welcome back our, this is a little hot, isn't it? Hot mic. Thank you. Oh yeah, well he needs that.
He's very soft.
It's very soft-spoken. I would now like to welcome back our lovely guest. She is a comedian and performer with Lady Parts Justice. Please welcome Sharron Paul back to the stage. This is my Leslie note binder that I use for the show. Nice. I just wanted to make that clear in case anyone looked at this horrendous thing and thought, what is she doing? I need it. Welcome, Sharron. We're so happy to have you. Thank you for just doing an amazing balls-out job on our position paper. Another round of and you, like many of us here, are a comedian. Can you tell us a little bit about Lady Parts Justice and what the mission is and what kind of work you guys do?
Okay, cool. Lady Parts Justice is a nonprofit organization that was created by Liz Winstead, who was the creator of The Daily Show. And we are a rapid response hub, and our goal is to expose what's going on in the repro rights community. So we're all about destigmatizing abortion, making sure women have ample access to health care. And by doing that, a lot of the times we'll release things like memes and videos and blog posts about what's going on in that scene, but also we will go and do kind of like a USO tour to clinics across the nation because they have no support. And there are some states like Mississippi and Alabama who only have one functioning abortion clinic open because of things like trap laws. So we'll go and show the clinic workers and volunteers and the actual providers support. Like we'll do shows and parties and run errands for them.
Wow. Can you explain what trap laws are for those people in the audience who might not be that familiar?
Okay, great. Trap laws are, I don't want to misspeak, but trap laws are laws that are placed upon abortion clinics and abortion providers, doctors, that stop them from being able to perform with ease. Like, say there's a clinic that's a women's healthcare clinic. A law in a certain state will say that that clinic cannot admit abortion providers and women who need the services because it has to be a fully functioning hospital. And you have to be affiliated with the local hospital, but what happens is it's kind of a trap because they'll be affiliated with the nearest hospital that's a Catholic hospital, which wouldn't perform abortions in the first place. So essentially it's outlawing abortions in hundreds of counties across the country.
Yeah. So essentially, because they can't overturn Roe v. Wade, they find all these other sort of loophole laws and trap laws, as you say, to try and stop these services from happening in a lot of these places.
Right.
So how did you get involved with Lady Parts Justice?
Actually, it all started with a Facebook post.
Many things do.
Yeah. Another comedian, Carolyn, she posted and was just like, hey ladies, are you interested in getting involved with a thing? And I was like, I like things. And so Liz was hosting a dinner party at her house to figure out if people were interested in getting involved with this thing that she was getting started. And so I literally went to Liz Winstead's apartment and she she literally welcomed me with open arms. I walked in and she greeted me like a friend she'd known for years. And I liked what she had to say, and I was like, this is something I can get involved in, and I've stuck around.
Nice. So tell me a bit about, we're talking about limits, and we've talked a lot about reproductive rights and those kind of limits. What about bigger sort of large world limits? Have you ever felt that your own sense of self or your ability to achieve things in this life has been limited in some way because you are a woman?
I feel like there's sometimes where I might think about stifling myself and not saying everything that's on my mind, not because I'm a woman per se, but more so it's just like because you're a lady.
Right.
You understand the distinction that I'm making there?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, it's like sometimes like certain things aren't ladylike, so you want to censor yourself, and it's just like, oh, that's gross, no one wants to hear that, or it's not becoming of a lady.
Yeah.
Like I feel like sometimes I hear everyone's grandma in my head, and it makes me think twice about things I'll express.
Does that come across in your comedy ever? Do you ever feel like you're stopping yourself from doing something comedically because of that thought?
No, like when I'm on stage, I feel like I am my truest, bluest self, and like anything goes.
That's nice. That's nice. What about we sort of talked about the sense of limits as in physical boundaries, Antonio boundaries.
Which is my favorite thing.
Ours too. Has there ever been a time that you felt like your physical space has been invaded, or your personal boundaries have been invaded because of who you are as a woman?
Just being a woman in period, yeah, just like in Antonio's song about guys, they put their hands on you instead of saying, excuse me, that happens all the time. I've had people like touch me on the train inappropriately, just because they think it's okay. That happens all the time.
Right. How much of that do you think, I'm gonna go there, how much of that do you think is because you're a woman of color? How much more is that boundary crossed, do you think?
Oh, plenty. There was one guy who like assaulted me on the train, and it was weird. I was on the phone waiting for a train at Atlantic Avenue, and this man comes up to me and he's like touching me and talking really low, and I'm thinking he's like, I don't know, I thought he was asking for directions or something.
Yeah.
But he was asking me for money, and I was just like, no, I don't have any. And he got so angry, and he was like, you black bitch. And I was just like, oh, well, that's who I am today then. All right. That's fine.
That's who I am today is like the female motto.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, how many women in this room have been physically, like, had their space invaded? Everybody. How many of you have had it invaded today? About a third. Alyssa's clapping. Slow clap for invasion. I feel like that's one of the biggest things that comes up for every woman, regardless of who we are. It's this odd thing. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen to men. I'm certain it happens to men in other ways as well. But there's this huge, weird, permissive thing that happens in the culture when you're a woman.
Oh yeah. People think they have some sort of ownership over you.
Yeah. It's intense and insane. Does that ever, when you're doing, like, tell us a little bit about your comedy and the kind of shows that you do. And do you think that there's, aside from Lady Parts Justice, is there sort of political aspects to the comedy that you do as well?
For the most part, it's not necessarily too political, though. I have done plenty of political shows, even outside of Lady Parts Justice. I guess it's political in the realm of, I do talk about blackness a lot, and that's easily politicized. You know, they say the personal is political.
Yeah.
And to that degree, sure, but I'm not talking about people who are running for office or anything like that. I'm talking about my personal experiences.
Yeah. And you do a show called you do stand-up, right?
Yeah.
So, have you ever had like an intense sort of heckler experience or something, or a club booker experience that sort of defines this weird notion of femaleness in comedy?
Thankfully, I've been really blessed to not really deal with many hecklers. It's been great, and it's never been an attack on femaleness or anything like that. There was one comedy club booker who, he'd asked me what I do and my credits and stuff, and I told him about Lady Parts Justice, and he thought it was laughable. Like, he was just like, Reaper writes, ha! Like, How dare women think they can do stuff with their bodies in their lives?
Do you want to talk about who that was and where they was? Well, if you want to tell me later, I will whisper it to everybody in this room. That's how we'll spread it around. So we talked a little bit about in the opening piece about how the ways that women limit themselves. Do you think that is? I feel like that there's a part of us that feels like the reinforcement of patriarchal notions of lesserness, and we sort of have to bat our way through that. Sort of semi-related to what you're saying about thinking about your grandmother being there. There's this sort of decades and generations back notion of like keeping sweet, as they say in like fundamentalist Mormonism.
I'm very familiar.
In case you wanted a religious lesson. So, do you think that this is something that we can, as you said in the opening, fuck? Like, can we say fuck it and get rid of this in our lives? And how does that happen for us?
I think we can say fuck it when we realize there's, I guess, it sounds funny saying this in regards to this, but like a time and place for everything, where I feel like the time for limiting ourselves it's passing. Like, we're realizing that we're equals in this world and we can strive for what we want and we can say what we want. And it's kind of a personal thing, but I almost want to say cultural for women.
Yeah.
To put themselves second.
Yeah.
And we think we're not necessarily worthy of certain things.
Yeah.
And we doubt ourselves constantly, where men go out balls to the wall. Whether they're good at a thing or not, they're gonna do it. And don't you dare doubt them.
Yeah.
Or we're on the opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah. But you think that is, I feel like that shift is more palpable.
That shift is definitely happening because we see women in positions that we've never seen them before.
And shouting about it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
very loud and proud.
Yeah, great. Well, if you want to see us talking more like this, Sharron and I are doing a panel on Saturday, a Women in Comedy panel. We're doing a Women in Comedy panel at the Pit Loft on Saturday at 6 p.m., so you're welcome to join us there. It's on West 29th Street between 6 and 7. Anything you want to plug? Do you have a show coming up you'd like to talk about?
Yes, I host a show called Cheap Date. It's at Union Hall in Park Slope. The next one is Tuesday, February 9th. It is our 6th annual Black History Month / Valentine's show.
And for telling us about your experiences as a woman in comedy. And everyone should check out ladyparksjustice.org.
.com. And ladyparksjusticeleague.com as well.
Okay, great. They have some great stuff up there, so definitely check that out. And thank you so much for being here, Sharron. Of women in comedy, many of you in this room are probably aware that late last year, the comedian Beth Stelling shared an Instagram photo that we will put up right now of the abuse and horrible treatment that she suffered at the hands of an ex-boyfriend. She didn't name him in the post, but because she spoke out and publicized this, it did go viral on social media, and the media picked up on it as well. And other women who this had happened to started to speak up, and eventually the perpetrator was named as another comedian in the LA scene, Cale Hartman. There was enough of a groundswell after some time that Cale felt compelled to respond with a statement on his Facebook page that's quite long and involved. And it is a statement. You'll notice I didn't use the word apology, because this is not an apology. This is some sort of slippery turd of a something, but it's not an apology. Which is ironic, because that's usually the opposite of what Cale does to turds. I personally do not have the authority to speak to what this really is, but fortunately the box has our very own resident non-apology expert. Please welcome Margot Penner, ladies and
Watch where I'm going. Your inattentiveness hurts my feelings. You see what I did there? That is a classic example of a non-apology. Of the 12 languages that I speak, non-apologeticism is my favorite because it is such a beautiful mindfuck, and it's spoken all over the world. Although, Klingon is pretty cool. That's a Klingon.
help us translate this non-apology.
Yes, read me passages. I will translate them for you.
Okay, great. So he starts off with, much of my career in comedy has been centered around the internet. I understand and appreciate the value of viral. Until December 28th, I would have wanted nothing more than for my name and to whatever it was attached to be blindly and rapidly passed around as much as possible.
Ooh, let's see, this is hard. This is the LA douchebag dialect of non-apologeticism. I am familiar, but it will be un challenge. Here we go. I will state up top that what is at stake for me if I am held accountable for my sickening actions. I'm just a guy with dreams of being known for being funny on the internet. Like a cat video. He wants to be like a human cat video. The fact that I've got a dream should certainly trump any harm I've caused. Keep my dreams and what I'll be missing out on at the forefront of your mind as you consider the allegations against me.
Wow, okay. He goes on to say, the severity of her accusations are false and extremely harmful. I'm not sure she realizes the irreparable harm of her actions.
Let's see. He's saying, oh, I hurt her all right, but not as bad as she says or the pictures show. And that hurts me. I thought I had her so scared of harming my career and her own that she wouldn't say anything. Sorry, one moment. The bullshit gets conjugated in the middle of the sentence in non-apologetism. It isn't like English. She doesn't appear to care about my hurt feelings. Plus, I'm using big words like allegations. I'm too smart to do something this dumb.
Just try for 2 seconds to imagine waking up to see you have been accused of the worst crime imaginable. You have no idea how terrifying that is, especially when the personal threats start rolling in.
He is saying, I did it, I totally did it, I absolutely 100% did it. No, I'm sorry, non-apologeticism is more idiomatic. It's more like, wah wah, look at me, for me, not apologizing, not admitting guilt. Forget that you saw photographic proof of the harm I've caused, and consider how it hurts me to be called out for it. The terror my victims experienced at my hand is nothing compared to what I'm experiencing on the internet.
By saying, I fell in love with Beth and will continue to treat her with the utmost respect.
On the count of 3, everyone say, aw, and melt in your seats. 1, 2, don't you dare. What he is saying is, I will continue to treat her with the utmost respect, even though just sentences ago, I accused her of fabricating and exaggerating the whole thing, and I will not apologize or accept responsibility for the harm I've caused. What? I said I loved her. Isn't that what all you bitches want?
Pretty well summed up, yeah.
Well, if I may paraphrase the rest.
Sure.
He basically says, furthermore, my needs. In conclusion, me.
Okay. Can you tell me, Margaret, is one of your 12 languages meme?
Pizza rat. Hide your kids, hide your wife. What color is that dress? Those are all memes.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess that those are all memes.
Those are all
I'll take that.
memes.
Do you think you could translate the box's response to Kale's statement? Huh? That one in particular.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes, certainly. Now, there's no word that translates from non-apologeticism to English, so I'll gesture and use a feeling, if I may.
Sure, please.
Yeah, that's all we got.
Kayla's because I chose the French fries instead. Am I right, guys? I got at least 12 more of those. Don't name me your rapey son's kale. All right. Moving on, I would now love to welcome our esteemed and wonderful panel to the stage. She's a comedian and the creator and director of The Muslims Are Coming. Please welcome Negin Farsad. Amazing stand-up, Hadiyah Robinson, ladies and gentlemen. And comedian, singer, box writer, and performer, a lovely human being, Peir. Alright, ladies, so we're talking limits. It's hot as fucking here, by the way. If anyone wants to turn on the air conditioning, that would be a limit I would be okay with crossing. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what limits we think we each have in our lives, whether they're personally defined, whether they're defined by society. What are some of the main limits you think you come across every day? Negin?
Every day, I don't know. I mean, I think I've learned a couple of things in my years, and I've been in the development process with network executives for a couple of failed pilots, not to brag. And I remember when I would go into these meetings, and there would always be like a dude agent and like another dude kind of assistant or whatever. They wouldn't look at me even though I was the show creator, and then I realized that they would do all this dude talking, right, like between the network executives and then the people that I was with, and there was all this chatter, and I was sort of like, I'm ready to do my pitch, you know, like I'm ready to do my pitch and my job. Are we gonna just chat about the weekend or whatever? And it was, and I realized that the limitation for me was that I thought I couldn't like be a real person in those situations, and I couldn't like just have a chat, and I couldn't have I had to just be a robot that worked and like really got there and just fucking did my job. And men don't feel that way. Like they go golfing, you know, with the fucking dudes they work with. And so that is something I feel like we ladies are more like, okay, well let's get to the you know, and it's not like that. That's, I feel like, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is we should bullshit more. Is that what I'm saying? That might be other people.
Yeah. What about you, Hadiyah?
I like that. Let's definitely bullshit more. Like, fuck it. Yeah, I think I definitely feel what you're saying, especially about feeling like you want to come in and present yourself. As a woman, it's like you don't want to come in and act like you're gonna slack off, or you don't want to be the weakest link, which is always the feeling, especially in a male-dominated thing, which is sometimes what comedy is. Stand-up comedy is so male-dominated. So when you come in, you don't want to be the weakest or the woman or the, you know, you gotta handle, we have to handle you with kid gloves. So for me, I try not to think about limits. I try to think about attacking it just like a dude would. So that's how I attack comedy. I don't try to attack comedy, and I don't want to be the female voice. I want to go in there and beast that shit the fuck out. So so any dude that's coming after me is in the back like, I don't want to do this. and so that's the way I think of limits. Like I don't want to see them. I want to surpass them.
Yeah.
That's just, yeah.
Nice. Yeah. As last time, because Hadiyah and Negin were our guests last time too, you have quotables for shirts that I always want to write down. Like, I want to go out there and beast the fuck out a t-shirt that I want to own. Yeah. Keep it rolling. Okay. Red, what about you?
Even though being in comedy is super lucrative, I work as a day job in the corporate world. I'm a marketer. And I feel like my biggest limit is being a woman, and being a woman that's not white. And you know, I think the biggest thing that I've been struggling with, which now, I've been working for some time now, I'm managing a small team, and it's just finding the balance between being a boss fucking bitch, which is awesome. I want to be that person, but then always being called a bitch, which I've had all of my superior, higher up men who would tell me God, that lady is such a bitch, and so I would take that in and think okay, well, when I'm in that higher up position, how am I going to be viewed? So just kind of trying to navigate that world. But my approach these days is just I I'm a woman. That's cool. I don't have to be cold and insensitive. I can kind of embrace what was given to me, just like everything that's great.
Yeah. Do you guys have personal experiences with the wage gap? Like one that you can name? Or something you realize, a moment you realized that there was a wage difference between you and like a male coworker?
I've had that. I was doing a show, and they called me to do it. They were gonna fly me out or whatever. And I've been out of the country doing comedy, so if someone calls me like, oh, we're gonna bring you down to Miami, like, no, bitch, I've been like somewhere else, so you're not impressing me right now with a flight. I expect a flight, like, you're not, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's where I am. You're not gonna tell me, oh, and we're gonna give you the stipend for you to take it. No, bitch, you're gonna fly me there. You're gonna put me in a hotel, and this is just certain things that I expect. But so I'm on a show with a bunch of dudes, and this guy wants to pay me only like, I think my shit was like $200 less than everybody on the show, but he wanted me to like go up damn near last. I wasn't the last one, but almost last. So thankfully I was cool enough with the other guys on the show that they would tell me and divulge to me what they were getting. So I called dude back and I was just like, look, this is what's about to happen, or I'm not coming, and that's just what it's gonna be. But it takes those guys in those positions to be that support or whatever it is, to say, yo, this shit ain't cool, or because they didn't have to tell me how much it was.
Yeah.
They could have just been like, I don't know, that your money is your money, blah, blah, blah. But they were like, oh, fuck that, you know. So they told me so I could go back and check him and then get my damn money. So he came
When I first moved to New York, I was a forensic consultant for a major consulting firm.
Whoa.
And
wait, because I'm like a long time Law and Order watcher, I thought you meant dead bodies for a second.
no, it was financial. It was like fraud, like banking fraud and stuff like that.
I don't want to say it's not as cool, but it's not as cool.
It's definitely not. I was looking at spreadsheets all day.
I was thinking about you like Olivia Bensoning through a door.
No, but what was super weird is like I was the only person there who had a full-time job with, and everybody was white. And then at night I was doing a master's degree in African American studies, as one does when they're Iranian. And so, so I was definitely an odd fish in every respect, but in also the respect I found out 6 months in, they bring you in like cohorts, right? And I came in with 6 other guys in my class, and they all got paid 15% higher than I did. I was the only one, and I didn't know until like it came out. But anyways, I was not long for that job. But and then another like in the comedy world, there was a network for which I did a web show. They really liked it. It was one of their highest traffic shows of all time. They offered us a pilot. So I was like, great. It was my production company producing it. I was directing it. I was one of the everythings of the show. And then when they took it to pilot and all the executives got it,
We aren't really talking about as a performance gap, because women in the workplace, in all types of workplaces, are expected to do above and beyond like what is in the job description. And an example I would give is in an actual constructive review feedback session with my boss 3 years ago. His feedback, which is supposed to be objective, was you're too sarcastic sometimes. And I was like, how is that constructive at all? And that was like given to me, and I talked to all of my male coworkers, and none of them have ever gotten something similar to that, even though I would say I'm pretty pleasant. And and like in addition, I had a coworker come to call me a bitch in my cube once because I didn't smile at him enough. And so, you know, it's just like kind of like these little like microaggressions that like we don't really, there's no like paper to prove these things.
Yeah, sure.
But it's a huge gap in what's expected of women in any type of work environment or any type of environment in general that isn't really spoken about.
Yeah.
I will piggyback on that because I used to work in television. I had a Foreward Production job or whatever. And I hate when people like to use that team player shit sometimes, which basically means I'm going to put all this shit on your desk and I want it done, and then we're going to go off and drink some beers or fuck off or whatever they're going to do. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, if you speak up about it, then it's like, well, you know, it's a team, we need a, and you gotta, no, fuck that, it's 5 o'clock, I'm bye. I did what I was supposed to do, and I saw the workload, I took my section of it, and y'all gonna figure this the fuck out. And that's just what it's happening.
The other thing that I had this experience, and I don't know if you guys have ever had this, but like at that job where I was not a swashbuckling forensic investigator, but a really boring financial one, they changed our dress code to casual, and 6 different men came to me that day, and they were like, Negin, you're not gonna fuck this up for us, are you? You and the whole thing, and you like to present your boobs. And I was like, do I like to present my boobs, or do they just exist?
Unbelievable, that could be. What about healthcare stuff? So have you guys experienced like barriers of access to like birth control or reproductive rights stuff, or just in general your health? Like how is it affected by these weird limitations that are put on us?
I think it's cultural for me. I think there's like a cultural limitation for me. I know, you know, in college I was still on my parents' health insurance, which I definitely milked that until I was 26. I like freaked out about getting on birth control because I thought the insurance company would call my parents, be like, your daughter's having sex, she needs birth control. And so like I held off on that for a year because I was dumb and didn't ask any questions, which could have been pretty dangerous for me. But you know, it was like a very cultural thing where I didn't think my brother would ever have to go through that. But I freaked out because I thought my parents would disapprove, you know, and condoms are just like there, and you don't have to like really worry about it, but like women have to go through so much to just like protect themselves.
Yeah.
I'm about to get all the way real right now. No, it's a true story. So I actually had an abortion at 17. So because I was 17, I had to go in front of a judge.
Where was this?
This is in Michigan. I'm actually from Flint, Michigan. I had to go in front of a judge, and I had to. So it's like a courtroom. There's a judge. I'm there, and there's a bitch that's like against me that I have no. And she was legit like objection. I'm like, I never make this up. She was like object. I remember her objecting. It was actually so traumatizing. I don't remember the whole thing, but I had to go in front of a judge, and it was just like, well, where did you have sex, and who was this boy, and where did y'all do it, and why did you have sex with him, and why did you use a condom, and how did you get pregnant, and where is he now, and where it was bizarre. It was the most bizarre thing.
And he didn't have to be there?
He didn't have to be there. I had to go. And after the whole thing, so they interrogated me for like, I don't even know how long it was. I just remember they were the judge asking me questions, this bitch, whoever this is, asking me questions, and then finally I guess it was just a way to embarrass the shit out of me. Yeah. And then they were like, all right, well, fuck it. And then they just gave me the paper and then I went. But it was just like, when I walked, my cousin went with me. And when I walked out, I was just like, we just looked at each other like, did this just fucking happen? Like, it was the most unbelievable thing in my life. And I just felt like, okay, first of all, I didn't feel like this should have been a huge court case, first of all. But if this is a decision I'm making even at 17, this is my decision.
Yeah.
And this is something I'm gonna have to live with. That judge doesn't have to live with it. This bitch ain't cheating. Never gonna have to live with it. I'm never gonna see her. I've never seen this woman again. It's not like we go to the same church and I look at her. So I think that's one of the things that's the worst. I think is these ways that they embarrass women about the decisions that they're making when we have to live with that decision.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. What's crazy about that to me is like they have time to do that and they can't clear the fucking rape kit backlog. They can't like, and in Flint right now, like that's just, it's mind blowing. The lengths that people will go politically to stop us from living our lives and living in our bodies. I just read a thing online today about basically comparing, I'm going to butcher this, it was beautifully written, it was like a gorgeous little piece of prose, but it was basically saying like, you know, there's this thing about your body being your own body and people get sent to prison for murder, for murdering other people, or for interfering with their bodies, and there are ways in which we are stopped from interfering with our own bodies that put us in the position of feeling like not only do we not own our body, but that someone else owns it on our behalf from the moment we're born. And it's not even that, you know, your body's not your own, it's like someone else controls it, that's not you. It's not like you have dysmorphia and you're looking at yourself standing in a corner going, I don't understand my body. It's like, once you get over the hump of understanding your body, which is a whole other thing, sorry about that unintentional pun of saying hump. Once you get over that, then there's this whole other battleground of like, well no, you don't get to decide this. This bitch over here gets to prosecute her, this bitch. Gets to decide. And she's prosecuting not you, but your body. Like, quite literally our bodies are battlegrounds.
But there's even more nuance when you throw race into that too.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it's funny because it exists on so many different fields. Like, shout out to Council Speaker Melissa Martin Viverito. She's sponsoring a bill to remove sales tax on tampons.
Yeah.
Included when they calculate the wage gap, so you need to redo those numbers.
Because
it's even worse because we have to pay for that shit every month.
True.
So so it's like in a lot of little tiny parts of existence where we're like, you know, fucked up.
Yeah, because that's a luxury tax or something. It's a look like tampons and shit is supposed to be a luxury.
Yeah. That's why I love that woman that was free bleeding while she was running the marathon. Did you guys see that? Because I was like, yeah, that's when they're going to be like, oh yeah, take all the tampons. I
think it'll take that time to like a diva cup too.
I mean, they did. I love there's a similar initiative happening in England right now, and English, the parliamentary system in England is so like polite until they're like in the middle of a shouty weird thing for nothing at all. But like, the great thing about it there is that the woman that's sponsoring a similar sort of parliamentary legislative action there, she keeps trying to get these old white British men to say the word tampon. she keeps standing up, which is like a big major form of protest in the parliament. She'll stand up and they'll be arguing their points and be like, well, women's services and women's needs. And she's like, I'll sit down when you say tampon. I'll sit down when you say tampon. Old white man like so long, she's like, tampon. When they say tampon. It's totally insane. So we talked a little bit about, working in the biz, women in comedy. We've been talking about that a lot. It's been in the news a lot, so that's one of the reasons. But do you think that how does the lack of representation or the limit put on you guys and me and everybody, women, but then also obviously there's race breakdowns and things like that too. How has that affected you individually in your careers? One minor, how is it not? But like, you have one sort of specific example that you can point to, you sort of brought up the being in the room trying to sell the pilot, but like, what do you feel like, well, let me put it this way, is it changing? Is it getting any better?
I mean, up until I was up for a job, and they said to, and I heard through a back channel that it was down to me and whoever else, but they couldn't give it to me because they couldn't have 2 Arabs on camera. P.S. I'm not Arab, I'm Iranian, whatever. But and then my friend, in defense of me, had said, but she's not Arab, she's Iranian, right? And they were like, you know what I mean. And that exact statement has come to me more than once. Like, this is not the only time where I've been rejected because there's already an Indian, already a Pakistani, already, I mean, and it's like this ridiculous, or even already a Chinese American, a Korean, or there's like this, there's like that, and it's funny because it happens in an episode of Master of None. Yeah. There's an unwritten rule that you can't have more than this one ethnicity in a show because their TVs will explode. That's why it doesn't have, it's very dangerous.
Quota is ready filled.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the thing, isn't it? It's this weird back channel quota system that you don't hear about until you do. And it's just like, it's like the wage gap thing, like people start being our allies and telling us this shit is happening, and that's how we start knowing, and then that's how we start talking about it. Thankfully that barrier is broken a little bit, and I think it will break more and more as time goes on, but it's still fucking fucked up.
And it's still this kind of, especially I'm speak on the black women situation, because it's still this kind of like when you come in as a black woman, what they're looking for from a black woman is still this stereotypical, bitch, yeah, and it's like that's not everybody, that's not every situation, but it's like this is the box that we see black women in, so this is where we need you to be. And especially in comedy, I feel like not so much in drama because it's like you seeing more black women doing different roles in dramas, and it's cool. But in comedy specifically, that's like that's what tells people black women are funny. If we doing some ridiculous, over the top.
Yeah.
That's not even how we are. Some of us are, but the range of black women is this. It's not this.
Yeah.
So.
Right now, you're like number one thing, your number one limit, the thing that holds you back. How do we smash through it? Like, how do you smash through it? How do we smash this fucking shit to smithereens? Like, what do we do?
I want a comedic show that's like all minorities, all Asians, like all more Asian comedy. I don't want a single white person. Masturbate too. Now I know you don't masturbate to me. Friendship over.
Okay, I smoke weed, so just trying to make sure I heard the question. So I'm gonna just say what I'm feeling. I think when more women reach a place and they continue to bring other women in, that's when the limits are going to change. But it's not going to change if women get to this place and they only bring this person up, or they bring people up, but they still want them to fit in this box.
Yeah.
So you can't, that's not gonna help broaden the opportunity, or that's not gonna destroy the limits that are created. These limits aren't created by us; they're created by dudes with penises.
Yeah.
So until women start making the rules, then the limits are going to still be there. And if we get in positions and we just say, okay, we're going to still follow these fucking rules and these limits, then it's never going to change.
Yeah.
So it's really about us getting in there and changing the landscape.
Yeah.
I mean, because I learned early on, like I remember one of my first auditions in New York City, I got a call back and it was like to be a woman standing in the background of a casino table and clapping. And it's all gone now. It was some really intense work. And I, you know, and I, of course, you know, I got a couple, and the casting director was like, Negin, you're like really amazing. And I was like, I mean, thank you, because I'm really good at clapping. And she was like, the only thing is, like, if we, you know, the problem is if we go in that direction, if, you know, you're too ethnic for this part, and then if we go in that direction, you're not ethnic enough. And to which I said, like, I have some bronzer in my purse, you want me to put it on, and we'll do a thing, you know. But that, it just wasn't, so, and it was remarkable to me that the casting director was just honest, but, because you usually just never know. And I realized at that moment that I cannot wait for the business to give me legitimacy. I have to insist on it myself. I can't wait to be anointed relevant. I have to fucking take it. And that's like what you were saying. And that's when I started, you know, making films. And I made 4 feature films, right? You would think, like after the first one, they fucking premiered at a fancy festival, they got a distribution deal, that ended up in theaters and then in Netflix, that the film community would have been like, welcome to the world of opportunities. That doesn't happen when you're a brown girl. So I then had to make another one, and then I fucking had to make another one, you know what I'm saying? And that you literally have to do 3 times more. And that, the unfortunate thing is that we're gonna have to be real tired. Oh, it gets worse. But eventually, you know, if you insist on it long enough and you don't get weeded out by just the pain and the patience, eventually you will insist your way into a real voice.
Yes. All right. Step out of all of the TV shows. I'll just come on and play the white guy that can't say tampon. Thank you guys so much for being here again. The lovely panel. Twitter handles.
At Negin Farsad.
HRcomedy.com is my website. Everything is there.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
At Rendiohead.
Nice. All right, thank you, Ken. More things to go.
Stop the show! Stop the show, lady host.
Oh my god, I don't know if you guys recognize him, but it's Bradley Cooper from the semi-hit movie Limitless.
I firmly remembered the Silver Linings playbook, but thank you. We don't have time to argue.
What's going on?
All right, as you may know, I am addicted to a pill that makes me limitless. It makes men limitless. We can think faster, right? We can talk faster. We can explain things to women faster, right? Okay. I've taken my new brains and I've gone into a lab and I've done it, okay? I have created a limitless pill for her.
That just sort of looks like a big bag of birth control pills.
Shh, I can hear you. Come on, listen, all right. You know how human beings only use 20% of our brains?
That's actually a myth, but I'll humor you.
Women only use 20% of your vaginas. This little pill right here makes it possible for you to control 100% of your lady parts. You can decide when you get pregnant, okay? It's not just some crazy surprise anymore. You're not just gonna wake up pregnant one day and have to poop out a baby that you have to take care of for the rest of your life. Yeah, you can get an MBA, you can do politics, or sewing. I don't know what women do. What do women do?
What you're talking about is called the birth control pill. It's been around since the 1950s.
Actually, lady host, I'm pretty sure I just invented it. Okay? I mean, if this has been around for so many years, then women would have access to it. They wouldn't have to ask their bosses for permission.
Right, touche.
Did you hear that? They're coming. All right, listen, I made another pill that women can take 24 to 72 hours after unprotected sex. I use it a lot during the anal for sure.
That already exists also. It's called Plan B.
You know about Plan B? Who are you working for?
I mostly work for myself, but also you can buy that over the counter. It's like $60 a pill.
sell you these for like 15 each?
So now this is just some sort of weird drug deal.
They found me! Get down! Or here, take these. Take these, alright? Lady host. Be limitless. You're limitless!
Some birth control pills. Anybody in the front row? Need some? Here you go. Not birth control pills. Don't take them. And don't put them in your vagina hoping that that will stop. That is actually something that has happened before. A nurse told me a woman got pregnant. She'd been shoving them up her vagina. That's what she thought it was. True story. That's not what you do. You put it in your mouth. Okay. And those are just candies, so they're not going to help you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, for our final position paper of the evening, I would like to welcome the box's very own Leila Ben-Abdallah.
Hello, ladies. Gentlemen. You might remember me from such sketches as Non-Apology Expert and Who Queefed, the game show parody. I have something to tell you. I'm actually, well, as she said, I'm not Margot Penner. I'm Leila Ben-Abdallah, human woman, box writer, comedian. We've had a lot of fun tonight, but I'd like to get real for a second. This best-selling incident illuminated several problems that victims of rape and abuse typically face. That's the pressure to stay quiet. To have to make public something so personal and painful, and to name an abuser often subjects you to scrutiny and scandal. Women of all walks of life are subject to abuse, but what makes this best-selling incident so chilling for members of the comedy community is that this man used his position in our community to compel his victims to stay quiet. The communities form around a common interest, but they also serve as support systems to its members, not function as a place for abusers to hide. So The Box, as a comedy show with a social conscience, is committed to doing whatever we can to make the comedy community safer for the people who make up a large percentage of it. There have been several wonderful outlets that have been organized in the wake of Beth Stelling's Instagram posts for women to share stories of abuse or harassment in the comedy community. But what happens after these stories come to light and it becomes clear that these are not isolated incidents, but fucking endemic? There needs to be action. In the coming weeks, The Box will be organizing a town hall meeting for those affected and our allies, gentlemen, to start discussing that next step. So keep an eye on our social media for announcements when that's going to be taking place. And if this is something that you're interested in, you can reach out to me personally, Leila Ben-Abdallah. It's my boo. Or you can find The Box on Facebook or Twitter. Those are our handles. Come find us for many things. In the meantime, if you are a person in the community who's experiencing or has experienced abuse or harassment, and if you need support of any kind, if you need someone to advocate for you with a larger organization, we're here for you. Again, you can reach out to me personally or contact us through social media. Oh, I didn't do the thing. You can reach out to me personally. I'm trying to make it fun. I'm trying to make it fun. We're also passing out sheets of paper that will list resources, including an online form to report incidents. Take them, pass them to people who need them. Stay tuned. And with that, let me reintroduce Kaitlin, Fontana, and Antonio Panderi.